Service, sharing Earth's resources, voluntarily implementing creative exchange. This is the new economy, and we invite you to be a part of it because this is the way you will be able to live for absolutely free. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and this is part two of a 5-day series. And we're looking forward to changing your life and transforming your reality so that you can live for absolutely free. It is possible, and all it takes is a change of thought in order to transform our reality. So, first of all, let's take a look at some of the things we talked about yesterday in service. The fact that the first step in creating a system, a new economic system, is to change your mind because we've been believing that the way we live is unchangeable. And we're not realizing that the history of the current monetary system is a lot less long term than we would think. But first of all, what is a monetary system? We know that what we do is regulated by the government. So let's take a look at what the government actually does in terms of creating that monetary system that we're all believing is unchangeable, when in fact it is quite changeable. First of all, a monetary system reflects a set of policies, frameworks, and institutions established by a government to create and manage money within an economy. These institutions typically include the National Treasury, the Mint, central banks, and commercial bank. So let's explore the different types of monetary systems. Now, the fact that there are different types lets you know that this is something that can be created by anybody who is thinking in terms of how do you go about changing what you have to what you need. So first is the commodity money system. In this system, a commodity, such as gold or seashells, serves as the unit of value and is physically used as money. The value of commodity money is based on its physical properties. Governments may stamp metal coins with information about weight or purity, but the value remains the same even if the coin is melted down. So let's just take a look at that for a minute. The idea that something has value. Everything only has the value you give it. If everybody collectively agrees that seashells has a certain value, then that's what you can use to trade. It's all about what you agree has value. So now take a look at two, commodity-backed money, representative money. A step away from commodity money, this system involves bank-issued notes that have no intrinsic physical value. However, these notes can be exchanged for a precious metal, such as gold, known as the gold standard. The silver standard was also prevalent historically until 1935. Bimetallism allowed both gold and silver to be legal tender. So now what we have is paper money that represents a certain amount of gold or silver based on the fact that we've given gold or silver a certain value. So the paper represents the value given to the gold or the silver. Realize, of course, gold or silver itself really has no value other than the value we've given it. They're just shiny rocks. They don't have any value in and of themselves. 3 is fiat money. In contrast to commodity-based systems, fiat money is defined by law as legal tender, even if it lacks intrinsic value. Originally, fiat money was paper currency or base metal coinage. In modern economies, it mainly exists as digital data, bank balances, credit, and debit card records, with only a small fraction in physical notes and coins. Banks play a crucial role in creating money through lending to customers subject to regulatory limits. Central banks control money creation by setting interest rates on reserves, affecting lending profitably and the overall money supply. Now, think about what that actually means. Fiat money is defined by law. That means the law has made this something you can use to exchange. And right now, it's not really based on anything other than what the law says it's worth. That's why the value of a dollar keeps changing. And now people don't even use paper money. Digital data, in other words, what is said that you have in terms of value, is kept a record of by the banks. And that digital data can be transferred back and forth to represent what you can use to exchange whatever you need. So banks create what we consider as money and regulate how much your money can earn money by having your money stay in the bank. And they lend what is considered money to people and charge them more money for borrowing. So that's how money is created and develops into more money. Now, we want you to think about that for a moment, because all of it is something imagined up that really does not exist. It is a thought. That's all money is. It's a thought. This is what we're going to decide has value, and you must have in order to get what you need. It's a thought, but it has no basis in reality. Because in reality, everything that we need is given to us for absolutely free. We're born on an earth that produces plants and fruits and vegetables. It grows everything we need. All of the substances that we use to build, they're right here. No one owns them. And whatever we use them for is for our benefit. So money is an artificial creation of the mind. Think about that for just one moment. So that being the reality, anybody with an idea can create money. And all they need is the people that they're trading with to agree that this is, in fact, a means of exchange. That's all. That's all that's needed to create money, is just a simple agreement. This is what we will use as a symbol that has value. So if we understand that, then we understand that there have always been ways that people created a means of exchange, and it worked for whatever they needed at the time. Now that we're seeing economies collapsing, it's a sign that we need to create something else. And that's why there are so many people that are now looking at other ways of exchanging what they have for what they need. That's why we're seeing the cryptocurrencies, because the digital money that we have, it's representing an idea, but it really is just based on a thought. So everybody has value. No one is more valuable than anyone else. Everyone has value. And so the artificial system that we've been following, which devalues people that don't have something that was artificially created and really doesn't exist, creates a problem. What is necessary is to have real value for real things. And that's where service comes in. So today we want to explore part 2, which will help you to recognize your real wealth, because this is what is going to get you what you need. And everybody can enrich you just like you can enrich everybody. So let's take a look at this. Again, a realization of what actually is possible when we change our thought. Service stands for sharing Earth's resources, voluntarily implementing creative exchange. So this is a system of implementation. And there are no expensive clubs to join or complicated things you have to do. It's very simple, very basic, but it's the step that will empower us to create a moneyless society. Last time we talked about the concept of ownership, and we wanted you to change your mind and think about the ridiculosity of someone owning things. And you can go to my Facebook page and take a look at the video, or you can go on the service website right here, theserviceonline.org, and take a look at this thought. What would happen if someone claimed rights to the air and you had to pay them a fee in order to breathe? What if they covered up your nose and mouth and suffocated you if you didn't have the money? Can you imagine the fear and desperation that would create? Nobody owns the air, the water, or the earth. So why are we paying anyone to live? It's that thought that we've asked you to question, because it's that thought that has to be undone in your mind in order for you to be ready to create something different. And to know that even though the government has a system, there's nothing that's keeping you from creating another system, as long as you have people who will agree. So we want you to join us in creating a moneyless society. All we have to do is share. Mother Earth gives us everything we need for absolutely free: sunlight, air, water, and soil, which grows everything we need for food, clothing, and shelter. There is enough for everyone, with plenty to spare. All we have to do is share. We can simply agree to use our time, talents, and possessions to help each other, so that all have what they need to live comfortably. Join us in creating a moneyless society in which everyone enjoys unlimited abundance. And we want you to think about that for just a minute. Think about What would happen if everybody just agreed to share the thought? Now, think about this. We all have unlimited value. Our time is valuable. The creative energy we use each day, whether we're sweeping the floor, changing a diaper, changing a flat tire, braiding hair, writing a novel, singing a song, driving a truck, cooking a meal, repairing a roof, or planting a garden. What we do with our creative energy has value and can be exchanged for something we desire, but may not yet have in our possession. What if we took a moment to write down all the things we do that enhances life for others? The list would be limitless. Just think about that for a moment. Think of all the possessions that you have and all the things you do. We have more wealth than we realize. Closets, drawers, and shelves are what we store the things we have but are not using. When those get full, we put things in boxes and bins and bags. We may even rent storage space. What if we made a list of every item we have that we're not using? Wouldn't it be great if we could take all those unused items and circulate them among people who could use them right now? What if we could exchange each unused item for something we need right now? Think about that for just a moment. We have the power to eliminate poverty. Your creative energy is the unlimited abundance you have to share with others in exchange for whatever you need from others. If you believe you're living in poverty, that means you are not recognizing your abundance. Service is the solution. And that is what all of us have the power to experience simply because all of us have value. All of us have something that we do that is valuable to others. All of us have possessions that we're not using. And so the way we have been conditioned to see wealth is in many ways what has kept us in a state of poverty. Because the fact of the matter is, people who hoard are people who believe they don't have enough. And so they keep saving things and they make what they have absolutely useless. If you have closets full of clothes you're not wearing, if you have garages full of boxes of books and old toys and all kinds of things that somebody would value, but you're not using, that's uncirculated wealth. So service is a system whereby you are able to calculate what you have that you're not using that will empower you to trade with others and receive points that you can use for currency. That's what the system of service is about. So, we're going to take you through the process of creating your service system so that you can actually benefit from all of the things that you have that you're not using, that someone needs. And you can benefit from all the things that others have that you need. But it doesn't have to be a direct exchange because we're creating a monetary system that's based on points, and everyone can acquire them, and everyone has the power to trade them. So no one is impoverished. In service, there is no class system where this person is of a higher class and this person is of a lower class, because everybody is equal. Everybody has the equal capacity to serve. Everybody has the equal capacity to create. And so, in a system of service, there is absolutely no class system. No need to look down on each other or treat anybody badly because they have so called less than what you have. Because what they can do can enrich you, and what you can do and sharing with them can enrich you even further. But the first thing is to recognize your wealth. And this is what we'd like you to do. As you prepare to set up your service system, your own monetary system, your own means of exchange, first we want you to prepare to recognize your wealth by giving an account of everything you have. And the reason why we ask you to do this first is to change a mindset that you may have that you don't have enough, or that you can't part with the things that you have. And that's what hoarders do. They hold on to things. Well, I might need this. And so if you've got clutter, that means you have a mindset of lack. I don't have enough. And you're holding on to things that are not serving you at all. And most people aren't going to take the time to sell their old things on eBay or any of those other wonderful websites that are helping people to share and stop hoarding. But most of the time, people hoard because they have the thought that they don't have enough. And so you will have an opportunity to really gauge the value of what you have. And once you do that, then we'll show you the system of calculating its worth based on the service points system. Because in fact, you will go through the process of creating your own service account and your own service profile, which indicates who you are to those that you're going to be trading with and interacting with and living free with. And you're going to be able to see the tremendous amount of wealth that you, in fact, do possess. Because as you go through this process, you will get a chance to undo the programming that makes you believe that you don't have enough. So step one, you're going to create your service profile, and we'll go over that in the next lesson. Part 3, creating your service group. We'll go over that in part 3. And step 3, list all your unused possessions. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Because you have so much that you have no idea. Then, of course, step 4, you're going to list all the items and services you need, and we'll talk about that. in the upcoming stages. And then step 5, create a money-free life. And that's the system in which you're going to employ with those you know, like, and trust. And we'll go over creating that service group that you interact with in the next step, part 3. But today, we really want you to recognize your wealth. So here is a way you can categorize it. And if you are ready to really go through everything you have, you will see what its value could be in terms of trade. Now, there's a systematic way of determining value. What you'll be sharing is service points. And what you have, we want you to list items that you're not needing. Go through every closet, every box, every bag, and list it, a 1-sentence description of each item. And we want you to think of a value. Now, 1 point is equal to $1. So if you've got a pair of shoes and you say if you were going to sell them, that would be worth, if you were going to sell them for $10, that would be worth 10 points. So each item will have a numerical value next to it, and those are points that you'll be trading with. So this is the categories you want to put all of your things in: accessories, appliances, books, clothing, equipment, food, it could be baked goods, food, grown produce, footwear, shoes, boots, furniture. And again, you're listing a 1-sentence description of each of these things. Household items. List and add 1-sentence description of each. Tools. List all and add 1-sentence description for each item. And you're going to put each item's monetary value based on dollars. 1 point equals $1. And you're going to add up all of these things. Now, these are just your unused items, your service possessions. $1 equals 1 point. Now, the reality is, once you actually go through everything that you have, and this is just your unused items, these are the items that represent your wealth. Now, you do realize it's going to take you probably several weeks to really list everything, and this is extensive. And we're just talking about the things that you don't use, the things that have been sitting in boxes and bins and bags, the things that have been sitting on your shelf, the things that you have no idea you even have. This is what you're doing. You're listing all of these things and giving them a point value based on $1 equaling 1 point. Now, you might say, oh, that's a lot. Yes, it is. Because ideally, once you realize how much you have that you are hoarding, that you're holding on to, that you are keeping from circulation, you will see that there is so much more that could be being used by those who need it. And you just need a way to share it. There is so much that we have that we simply don't use because we don't think about it. And if no one asks, we're certainly not going to see it as withholding it from someone. We just simply hold on to it. And so if you don't have a way to share what you have, it just stays something that you hoard. Now, we've got some places like, Salvation Army and things like that, where people will go and drop off things and they get sold for a low cost. And that's good. That's good. That keeps things in circulation and it helps those who have less money. And that's a good first step toward what we need to do with our unused things. But even that, how many things do you have that you say, yeah, I gotta pack this stuff up and take it to the Goodwill. Or I gotta pack this up and take it to the Salvation Army. But you don't. You don't. Because it takes time. It takes time to actually list all of the things that you own. It takes time to even just bag it up and toss it. But what if all of those things represented wealth that could just get you everything you needed for absolutely nothing? So you don't have to do anything extra other than get rid of the things that you don't need, but somebody else does. So this is the system. Because what this list will do is provide a way for you to get what you need. Even though the person that you may get it from may not need what you have, but someone else needs what you have. And once you give it to them and you receive the points, you can take those points and give it to the person that you are receiving something from that you need. You're trading points. It's the same thing as the monetary system. We're just choosing to call it points. And it's something that everybody can use and circulate. Because that's all that the money is. It's an idea. The reason why it's difficult is because this symbol of an idea is being withheld from people. And then they're not being allowed to get what they need because they don't have the symbol that's controlled, as we read, by governments. But the fact of the matter is, money is whatever a group of people agree that it is. And this is why we're seeing an evolution going toward a system of sharing. How many people have gone on Craigslist? I mean, people who buy on Craigslist, that's a list of things people have and they're trying to get rid of. And you can trade directly with somebody who needs what you have. You don't have to go to a department store, person to person. All of these things we're seeing are beginnings of returning to that system where we just all interact and we all cooperate voluntarily. These are transitions to that system. Even something like Uber or Lyft, where everybody is able to help everybody who needs a ride somewhere. I got a car, you need a ride, I'll take you. You pay through your account. There's no money exchange. An idea is exchanged. An idea of what is value. It's the same thing. We're just using points instead of money. And we are using points based on a monetary system that we've all been participating in. $1 equals 1 point for everything that you list. So now think about the things that you do. And this is another way that you can calculate wealth, because what you do has value, as we've said, no matter what it is, whether you're braiding hair or cutting a lawn. Someone needs what you do, and so it has value. And we want you to think about all the things that you do. All the things that you do that can be requested and needed by someone else. Because, in fact, all that you have is needed by somebody, just as all that you do is needed by somebody. So you're going to think of all the services you provide, descriptions of work that you do, that you like to do. Now, this, of course, gives you an opportunity to really think about all of the things you do, whether it's professional or not professional. Maybe you sing in your church on Sunday. That may not be how you get paid, but that's what you like to do. Well, you're a singer. Describe what you do. And then describe the things that you may do that are skilled work. Well, I was trained as an accountant. Okay, that's something, and you like doing that, then that is a service that you're going to provide. So think about that. Think about how you would like to spend your time, because this is what you will offer when you are looking at what people need and what they request. So the time that you spend, 1 minute is equal to $1. So 1 hour, 60 minutes is equal to $60. So work that you do, you're being paid the equivalent of $60 an hour. Certainly, that's a nice amount of money to make. And that's what your service is worth, $60 an hour. If you're providing services for 30 minutes, well, that's $30 an hour, 30 points. Every minute is worth 1 point. So again, we're working with a monetary system that you're familiar with. 1 hour is worth $60 because 1 minute is worth 1 point, which is equal to $1. So anything that you do that you enjoy doing is something you can be of service to those who would like that particular thing done. And everybody has something that they do, even if it's picking up trash, or even if it's sweeping a floor, or even if it's baking a cake. You're doing something that's needed, doing something that you like to do, and your hour of energy that you put forth is worth 60 points, which is equivalent to $60. So that is the service system. And we want you to take the time to calculate your wealth based on time, which is unlimited. As long as you're breathing, you have time. And the items that you possess, which are much more than you realize. And so, this is a chance for you to recognize how valuable you are and to realize that no one controls all the wealth, because you have so many things that you have acquired that have value, even though you're not using them. And you have so many things that you know how to do that others would value. So make that list. Make that list. And in our next segment, we're going to show you how to create that service profile that you're going to then use as the account that you share with others. Just like, and how many people have used some of the digital banking systems, Cash App or Venmo or Zelle, and you're sending money. You're sending really the idea. You're sending a an idea of fiat currency. You're sending an idea of a value. You're sending an idea. And how many people have sent this idea through their phone? I have an idea of $50 in value that I'm sending you. And the person says, well, I've given you $50 worth of my service, my energy, my effort, my talent, my skills, my possession. So I will receive your $50 that you owe me for what I've given you. So we're doing this already. We're already doing this. The only thing is we're creating a point system that everybody can participate in. Because even if you own nothing, even if you're a homeless person, if you're able to, say, wash a car and you do a thorough job, maybe it takes you 30 minutes, clean out everything, wash it, shine it up. Well, that's 30 points worth $30. And you're issued those points, and you can take those points and maybe buy a pair of shoes or buy a nice meal, because everybody can issue points. Everybody can issue points. Everybody can issue points. Everybody can issue points. And this is how everybody who may not have physical possessions with a few hours of energy put forth and what may be needed, they can acquire what they need. Imagine if you received in a 2-day period, maybe you put forth energy for 12 whole hours one day. Well, it's $60 an hour. How much would you earn? And for 2 days, 24 hours, maybe you work 12 days for both of those days. 24 times 60. If you had that, what could you acquire that is needed? So, once again, we're talking about the fact that we're already doing this. We're already creating a way for people to share. We have some systems that already have been put in place. We're already sending and receiving the idea of wealth on our phones. So if you are putting forth effort to do things that empower you to receive points that can be used as currency, then you can very easily work your way out of any kind of poverty. Because if you had 24 hours of effort that you put forth just in a 2-day period of time, with each of those hours being worth 60 points, which is equivalent to $60, that would be 1,440 points, equal to $1,440 that you could in fact use in the system of service. So if you work, let's say you work 3 days, 12 hours. I mean, you could sleep the other 12 hours, but if you work 3 days, 12 hours per day, that would equal 36 hours times 60 points per hour. And that would equal, now you're talking about in a 3-day period, and just half the day spending time, you would have an amount that could change your reality, a total of 2,160 points, or it's equivalent dollars. $2,160 service points equals $2,160. So how would that impact your life? If you could get $2,160 in the space of 2 days. And just think, you're doing not necessarily something you hate. What if people enjoyed your singing? And those who are part of the service system issued you points for singing your song. And so you're doing something that you love. You're singing and you're receiving what you love. So this is a service that you provide. And it's something that people value. And so you receive points. And those service points can be something that takes you out of a state of poverty, because from that, you then can trade for what you need by those who have what you need and are willing to share because it's something they're not using. Or perhaps you need some type of work done and you can trade 2,160 points for the equivalent amount of work. And you have not only done what you liked and received what you need in order to get what someone else has to give, and you are able to enjoy a higher quality of life while doing what you desire. So, this is why our first step is to change your mind. Because the fact of the matter is, this is a workable system simply based on those who agree. And those who go through the process of creating a service page on their phone and going through the same processes of sending and receiving information that represents value. So the evolution of our sharing is an evolution back to where we used to be before we were made to believe that other people own the earth and we have to pay them for it. We don't have to pay anyone for anything if we simply identify people who are ready to create something different. And the power is always in your own hands. So before we go, we want you to think about a few things that will help you to transition in your mind the reality that this state of affairs of extreme wealth and poverty is not going to exist much longer, simply because people are creating different things because they realize that the way this system works isn't working. They realize that people are angry and turning violent because they're believing that they're trapped in poverty, when in fact, We are not. We simply need to create a system where all may share with each other. And that's what service does. So we want you to, again, in this second step, to recognize your wealth. Make that list of all the things that you have that you're not using. And then you can make a list of all of those things that you do that you enjoy. Recognize your wealth. Yes, we'll have to be hitting buttons. We've got so much that we don't use, and so many gifts and talents and skills that we could be sharing with others. And so much of what we believe is untrue, believing that there's not enough. And those are the main things that those are the main things that are keeping us from experiencing true abundance. And that is the incorrect belief that there's not enough and people will not share. So if we can simply comprehend the idea that there is enough and people will share, because people are doing that already. People are already sharing what they have. They are already providing services for people. You have all of these collective kinds of programs, like we mentioned, the whole Uber, Lyft, and all those kinds of ways that the individual person can now just help the individual person because everybody knows everybody when you register with that system. So this is the next step that we're going to talk about next session, where we go over step 3. And this is simple because the people that you interact with are the people that you know, like, and trust. And we're going to show you how to put together a profile for yourself that will be the record whereby people who are interacting with you with service points will know exactly who you are. So, next time, tomorrow, we'll talk about how to create your service profile and then how to identify your friends, those people with whom you're going to interact and create a moneyless society. Because that is what we all have the power to do. And once we do that, we can live for free. I'm Naima Latif. We'll see you again tomorrow. And we want you to get ready for service.